Lester Greene is out on the front lines with George Vincent, actor, producer, director, most notably known for the Disney smash Soul and the faith film hit Heavenly Deposit. George Vincent, welcome to Out on the Front Lines. It is a pleasure to have you. Welcome.
Thank you so much for having me, Lester. It truly is a pleasure.
Thank you so much for being here. And I feel like we had to go through a lot to get this set up, right? People don't realize what happens behind the scenes.
No, and just to give everyone a little bit of some inside baseball, sure, your camera starts falling over, the lighting's off, you got a guy who's starting to cut wood,
right?
In the complex, which
right.
never happens. So yeah, it's you just gotta roll with the punches.
Exactly, go with the flow. Have you ever had to do an audition where somebody was playing their music loudly outside?
Oh, I've had other experiences, maybe where the dogs are barking or the kids are playing, and if you could see this room where I'm in, this is where I do some of the recording for some of my Heavenly Deposit videos that I put up on YouTube. And when you're hearing people, like the kids screaming out there, and this is where you're working,
right?
And unfortunately, you don't have the luxury of screaming out the window, "Hey!" But that, so it's exciting. It's exciting.
Right. Well, since you jumped right into it, let's talk about those YouTube videos for your movie Heavenly Deposit. So I've been watching those videos, and I think it's genius that you're actually sharing those stories, because people don't realize what goes into filmmaking, what goes into putting the cast together or getting funding. Can we talk about the woman who donated to your Indiegogo campaign for Heavenly Deposit?
Oh my goodness, you did watch that. All right.
I tried to do my homework because it was so fascinating, and you don't see a lot of directors or producers giving you that inside scoop on what goes on behind the scenes. So thank you for doing that, really.
Truly, it's awesome. Well, the thing about Heavenly Deposit, it's a movie about finding faith and hope in a time of need. It's my story. It's my personal testimony of really finding God and accepting Him into my life. So from the very start, I will tell you that the doors that have opened for the movie for us really have been incredible. You could say it's all God leading us every step of the way. So when things like this happened, I'll share that story. It's not surprising, but it is surprising. You know what I mean? Because anything is possible through God. So what happened was this: we were in the beginning stages of trying to raise money, and I remember going over to my church, and we were trying to, just do a little pitch. It was really just very soft, a soft pitch. Hey, everyone, it's during coffee hour. That, and I'm a guy that if I say that I'll take about 8 minutes of your time, that's it. I keep it legitimately, to 8 minutes. So I had I had a video ready to roll, which was a teaser to get people to understand what type of movie this is going to be and the message and all that. And I said, look, folks, I said, I appreciate you. If you like, please donate. We have an Indiegogo account, that we're trying to fund that way. Or if not, I said, we'll take your prayers, And so at the end of the time, I got to tell you, 2 people donated, which is still better than 0, but 2 people donated, and they were very nice, and they basically gave $200. But out of about 150 people there that day, I was like, man, I'm really stunk. I must have really just stunk. Yeah, and the reality was, no. What happened was a lot of people came up to me after and like, listen, we're going to be praying for you. We're going to pray for the movie, and it looks great. And I said, okay. I said, well, thank you very, very much. And I got to tell you, the people there were genuine, and they were, well, as it turned out, were amazing, because prayers, amazing.
Yeah.
So what happened was, a week later, the gentleman who allowed me to do this, the people there who allowed me to share this, he came up to me after church was over, and he goes, "Hey, how did your thing go?" And I said, "Well," I said, "let's just say I got a lot of prayers." Right. And he just starts laughing. And then there's someone who's about a table away. And he goes, "George, let me introduce you to somebody." And I said, "Sure." And he walks me over to this lady, and he basically, who turned out to be this amazing person named Athena. So he shares, that I'm a filmmaker, I'm trying to raise money. And then she goes, I'd like to see the trailer or the teaser. And I said, "Sure." So we went outside, I played it for her, and literally, it just touched her heart. And she got very emotional, and she said to me, she goes, "I'm going to help you." And I said, "Okay." I said, "Okay." Well, wouldn't you know, that day, there was a $5,000 deposit
Wow.
that went in. And then you could call it a heavenly deposit, right?
Right.
And there was a message, and it said, "If there's anything else I can help with, here's my number."
Wow.
So I reached back out to her,
Right.
and I said, "Look, if you're open," I said, I'd love, as filmmakers, you know
Right.
what it's like, how hard it is to raise funding.
Yeah. Yeah.
So Lester, I reached back out to her, and I said, I would love to see if you would become a
TV.
executive producer on the show.
Yeah.
And in return, if you'd like to add some more funding, here's what I can offer. And she goes, "Let's meet for dinner." So I said, "Sure." So I walk into this restaurant, and I see her in a booth. And as I'm walking over there, I look down on the plate, and there's a check on there already sitting.
This is like a movie.
It was incredible. When I tell you what a class act this individual is, just totally blew my mind.
Right.
And it was funny because it was a $5,000 check again.
Wow.
Yeah, and I'm sitting there going, I was just blown away. And then she goes, "Tell me your story. Tell me how this whole thing came about." And so I did. And she goes, "Can I have the check back?" She pulls out her checkbook, and she writes another check for
Wow.
more.
Wow.
And all I can tell you, I was like, "Lord, like,
Yeah.
this is amazing. This is amazing." So it was moments like this throughout the making of the film that really just showed me that he was in control, because I remember just kept praying and saying, "Hey, Lord, this movie's for you. I want to
Yeah.
give people hope. I want to lead them to you. This is your baby. So please help, I would always pray and ask God to shut the doors that should not be open,
Ooh.
and to open the doors that would help."
Right. Yeah, I read somewhere that some minister gave you the idea to even bring this story to life, to tell this story. Is that
Yeah.
true? Because how do you even know, okay, this is what I need to do? I want to make this film. How did you know that this is the right thing to do before
Well,
all the signs started showing?
that's a great question, Lester. That's a great question.
Thank you.
Um, well, the thing was this. When I had that experience that brought me to God, that brought me to Christ, um, it was so powerful that all I wanted to do was share it with people, really, wherever I was. And hopefully I wasn't, too threatening to people. And I would just say, "Hey, can I share a story with you?" Or we're talking, and maybe I'm sitting at a coffee shop, maybe at a gas station while I'm pumping my gas. I see somebody, and it's like, "Hey, how you doing?" Start up a regular conversation. And I'm like, "Hey, can I share a story with you?" And they're like, "Sure." And then I tell them, and I guess it was so powerful to them, because it would kind of make them think about their walk with God. And they would get, like I said, they would get emotional, and they would say, "My God, that's very powerful. Thank you for sharing that." Well, I'm at this, one day I'm at this coffee shop, and I share the story with this individual, and he turns out to be a minister. And he says that this story is so powerful that I should make it into a film and share it with the world. And the key thing here is that I've been an actor for way over 20 years, and why didn't I think of that? Why did it take a minister to kind of plant that seed? And that was really what literally he did. He planted a seed, and I took it and I ran with it.
Right. So you were an actor for over 20 years at that time.
Yeah.
So I'm just wondering, how do you even start? Because you're relying on bookings. You know, as actors, we're usually waiting for work. We're waiting for our agent to contact us.
Sure.
We're waiting for something to land on our lap. Like in the movie Heavenly Deposit, you auditioned for that role and you were waiting, in a sense, to hear back, right? You weren't sure if you were going to get it or not. So how do you know how to create your own project if you never really did it before?
Correct. And that's why I tell people, your reason for doing something has to be super strong. You don't have to know how. You just got to know your why. Why are you doing something? Again, in my case, it was to honor God and to give people hope. Like I said, the hope that he gave me, I wanted them to experience it. Because life is challenging, right? We all go through difficult times.
Yeah.
I just didn't know how it was going to happen.
Yeah.
And again, that just put me on the road. You just start trying to figure out what number the first step is. In my case, it was writing a script.
Right.
And the thing is that I've never written a script before, so I had to learn. And I picked up a book. It's called Save the Cat.
I've heard of it.
It's really good, Lester. Really, it's for me, it was fantastic because it showed examples. You know, if they said this is what you do, or you know, this is what you need to do, they would show an example from a movie how it's done. And I said to myself, okay, I can do this. So with me, I have to reread things over and over again until I kind of absorb it.
Yeah.
But once I absorb it, I'm pretty good, you know. But it's never an easy step for me. It's always like a learning and growing process.
Right.
So I had to learn how to write a script. Did the script, you know, sent it into the Dove Foundation to get reviewed. And that was through a gentleman friend of mine, this gentleman who is fantastic. He's been guiding me on this film, and it's called, his name is Gene. And I met him at church, believe it or not.
Wow.
And he was, you know, at the time he was working over at Stars, and then he went to Lionsgate. Now he's on his own. I mean, this man's terrific. And his guidance was, you know, I've had from the very start of this movie too. And so I did. I sent it in, and then they wrote back. They wrote a review on the script, and they said that the manuscript hits a home run.
Whoa.
You know, yeah, and that they're like, they can't wait to see this as a film. Well, you know, we were in the on the road to do this. So after that, we had to raise money, and I'll tell you, that's the hardest thing.
Yeah,
raising funds. And I shared a short story with you on that one. After that, you know, we had to bring on a cast. Thank goodness, from the very start, there was a gentleman who we were working on a project together, you know, while this is all going on. His name is Rick Irvin. And we hit it off. First time we meet, we hit it off. You know, we both kind of got like these, you know, someone might say conspiracy theory ideas.
right.
And we're both hitting it off. And so long story short, you know, we meet outside the filming of this project, and he tells me that he wants to do a faith film. And I tell him that I've been working on writing a faith film, and I shared my story and, you know, on it. And he said to me, he goes, we got to make this film. And I was like, perfect.
Wow.
So there it is. God brought us together. And by the way, that other project kind of fell by the wayside.
Oh, wow.
Go figure.
Yeah.
So he brought us together, and Rick became my right-hand man. Like, we produced it together. We co-directed it together.
Yeah. I'm just curious in terms of calling it a faith film, because I heard people use the term faith-based film. Is there a difference in the terminology, or does it mean the same thing?
I think it's the same thing.
It's the same thing. Okay. All right. I didn't know. Okay.
Faith Film, and but the thing is that this one here is very, and I know you've seen it. It's very real. It's not foofy. It's not, I wanted people to get a real grasp that they can relate to what I was going through. I know there's a ton of people out there that are experiencing, difficult times, and I wanted them to be able to relate.
Right.
So,
when you were filming Heavenly Deposit, right, and you're the character and you're acting and you were getting emotional during those scenes, was it challenging? Because I always want to know if when you see tears on the screen, is that real? Because you can create that. They have this special thing that you can put in your eyes. So how do you feel about that? And what was it like for you to try to get there emotionally?
well, the thing is this: if you're truly connected to what's going on, it's going to be there,
It's gonna, yeah.
and that's really it. It's really about honesty. It's really about honesty. I will tell you though, we had some funny moments where there's a very important scene in there where I do break down, because that's really what happens. Like, it's like when you have nowhere to turn, right, and you're down and out, and all of a sudden it's like, you're basically turning and saying, hey, they say you're compassionate and caring.
Right, I love that.
Show me.
Yeah.
Well, that right there, let me tell you, it's real. It's real because I know a lot of people have been there. You really need that help.
Yeah. In that very moment when you were saying those lines, what were you thinking about? Were you thinking about your past, maybe your father growing up? Because sometimes people or actors can substitute certain things to get there.
Really reliving those moments.
Wow.
And when you're, like I said, Lester, I've been acting for over 20 years. So it's like, if you're really, my acting coach used to say something about just being totally, as you get older, as you train more, your emotions, they go from being way down here to being like right here. So at any moment,
Good point.
You're open, exactly, you're vulnerable, and you just you speak it, and that's really, I believe, what transpired. There was some moments when we were shooting that scene. Basically, the camera, we're like, okay, and ready, action, go type thing, and while we're doing it, it's like, the camera's off, so you have to redo it, and and those emotional scenes like that,
it's hard to get there.
It's killer. Yeah.
In the movie Heavenly Deposit, of course, that's what we're talking about. There's a scene where you have to go to this producers meeting. You have this session because they want to see you again. It's like the callback after the callback, right?
Right.
So you go in there with a heavy heart already because of what just happened previously. And you're doing the audition, you're performing, and you're clearly thinking about all that other stuff that happened to you, but you're using it in the audition room. And your take was totally different from the first take when you auditioned for that role. And I wanted to ask you, as an actor, did you feel like, okay, darn, I didn't do it the same way that I did it the first time. I'm probably not going to book the job. Because that's usually what happens. Usually when you get a callback, you want to do exactly what you did the first time around, but you switched it up.
Yeah, it's like when you're allowing the reality of the moment to kind of be there.
Ooh.
I think as actors, I think that's really, really important. People, they always say, take in your day, take in what you're experiencing, right?
Yeah.
Right. So take it in, because at the end of the day, you want to be real. You want them to see a human being.
Yes.
And even if it's comedy, it has that level of, sincerity and weight behind it. Well, they're going to appreciate it.
Good point.
That's stuff like that are just priceless. And that's through experience. That's through learning. It's not through, just hearing it, but actually living it. So
experiencing it. Yes. Wow. That was deep right there. So I want to know, what was it like for your wife, Christina, to actually watch you relive these moments on screen and producing this project? What was that like for her? Both of you,
First of
really?
all, she's just an amazing girl, because to expose what went on, and to let the world see it, and you're kind of giving someone a bird's eye view into your life.
Yes.
That was tough. You know, when I started making the movie, I didn't think about that. That was never a thought, that someone's going to be able to see what was going on. If that ever did enter my mind, I wouldn't have been able to make this movie, because
Um,
from a point of view of being, like, protective, and I would have never done it. But because my intention, again, was to honor God, and
yeah.
how to give people some hope, it never entered my mind. And but I will tell you that when we first saw the playback of this movie, when we first finished it and it was all said and done and we watched it, it
Mhm.
was it was a very powerful experience. And it was, if I remember, we did things where we, um, basically played it back so we can, on the big screen, to see what it was like and all that. And but when it was all said and done, and literally we played it in our home, with my brother and my sister-in-law and my mom, and we watched it. I was as quiet as a mouse, because I didn't know how they were going to take it.
Right.
But it was such a amazing experience, because let's just say there was not a dry eye in the room, right?
Wow.
Yeah. And when your family, who's incredibly supportive, especially your brother, who really never knew this part of you. Never. He didn't know this was going on, this happened, and all. So it was one of those incredible moments where, when I saw that it touched them, I knew we had something good. I knew
Yeah.
that it was something that, people would be able to relate to. And same thing with Christina. She, especially their moments in there with the the jewelry.
Oh,
It's just very, very, very sincere, very touching, and very relatable stuff, that, like I said, but she handled it, and she was a champ. She was amazing.
yeah. Speaking of Christina, the person who played your wife in the movie, isn't her name Christina too?
Yeah, Christina Denton.
Yeah.
She's a terrific actress.
Is that a coincidence? One, and then two, she said that she didn't even want to audition for the role because she wasn't in the right place. She wasn't in the right frame of mind. She got
Yeah,
two casting notices and she just sort of put it behind her. How were
yeah.
you able to sort of find her and get her to play this character?
That's awesome. So, we did this thing where, again, if you're a filmmaker out there, this is a great tip. Actors Access allows you to, instead of just going and renting a room and bringing in people, and just going through, 100 or whatever, and just spending that time doing that, which I'm not saying you don't need to do. What I'm saying is, work smart, not hard. Save money. So what you do is you put a call out on, say, Actors Access. That's what we did. And I put the scene up that I wanted people to do. And then, from the comfort of my own home, went through it. Myself and Rick, we went through the stuff, and we're like, all right, let's bring in this person, this person, this person, this person. So we narrowed it down to, maybe, I think, maybe like 12 people out of, I don't know how many submissions we got. And I'll tell you, when Christina came in, the connection we had was insane. Rick, I even felt Rick off to the side of me, looking at me, looking at her, looking at me, looking at him, at her, and he, when we talk about it to this day, we knew she was the one. We just knew it. It's incredible. So from an actor's point of view, when you go out and audition, it's there's no it's not like you might have done something wrong. It's just that that person connected so well, they're the ones that stood out. That's all it is.
Wow.
So the biggest tip, connect with the person you're reading.
Ooh.
Just be present, connect. And
Right.
that's what she did. And
Yeah.
after that, we just knew that she was the one. And
Ever feel that a casting director knows right away before you even audition, the minute you walk in the room, do you believe that a casting director knows that's not the right person? Do you believe in that?
I do. I do.
You do.
You know, look, they open up their mouth. I'm an East Coaster, you know, and initially when I first came out to California, it was very thick. And you walk into a room and you know, hi, I'm George Vincent, but you know, right now it's fine.
Yeah.
But back then, you know, with a New York accent or whatever, and they're
Right.
looking at you like, you have a good day. You didn't even audition yet, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, I really truly believe it might be a look too. You
Yeah.
know, someone comes in with this specific look that they're the ones. They get it.
I almost feel like nowadays it's not about just talent anymore. Remember back in the days when if you had the talent and you were the best actor who auditioned for the role, you would get it. Now, okay, how many social media followers do you have? Who do you know? Oh, are you related to the casting directors? Does the casting director know your father? There's all these other variables now that play into being cast. How do you feel about that overall process?
I'll tell you, Lester, you just hit on a flurry of things that you have to
Right.
know that these are the things that we're experiencing now. So if you want to, you know, basically do the same thing that you've been doing over and over again, then you'll keep getting the same result,
Results. Ooh.
right? So in this case, you know, the reason that I made Heavenly Deposit was for a specific reason, but it allowed me to play and to be in the film.
Yes.
And yeah, I created an avenue for myself by doing so. So for anyone out there who's an actor, definitely recommend even a short film,
Yes.
right?
A web series, something. Yeah.
Web series, anything where you can actually show your work, show your talent. You know, there are times where, you know, actors are never going to play a certain role that they want, never, because they don't get the opportunity. You know,
Yeah.
um, so why not create that? If that's something you want to try and do, and to showcase yourself in that light, then do it. But definitely, you really have to move forward, and you
Yeah.
have to, you know, really just put your really what it is you deciding
Making a
if you want to
choice.
do it. Exactly. You know,
Yeah.
otherwise, like I said, you'll be getting the same results.
Right. When you first started your journey as an actor, right,
Yeah.
and you booked that recurring role on One Life to Live,
Hmm.
did you have in your head, oh wow, this is going to be my path to success. This is my niche. I'm going to be this soap opera star, this pretty boy model.
Gosh. Oh gosh. Um,
Did you have that thought in your head, or did you
I,
always know that you would end up where you are right now?
I'm a type of person that whatever I put my mind to, I do. I don't care however long it takes. If I'm committed to something, I'll do it. Um, and I don't know the word quit. I don't.
Wow.
You know, and I really think that people out there hopefully can really just connect with that, because there's some people out there that if they give it like, hey, I'm going to give this 2 years, and well, that's great if that's what they want, because their mind, their goal is something else. Maybe it's financial freedom. Well, as we all know, you know, acting is not that. It's not that. You know,
Yeah.
financial freedom may come, but
Right.
it's never guaranteed.
True.
So so with that mind, all I can say is that with the soap, I got on there. It was a blessing, you
Yeah.
know. It was a blessing because, you know, I was doing theater in New York, and that's really where my training comes from. And at one point, I was doing a children's show, over at the 13th Street Repertory, which is still there to this day. And I remember playing a chicken. Okay. I was doing children's theater, you know, on stage as a chicken, and his character name was Pollo Frito. All right. And all, you know, so my point is this. I never forgot where I started from. And it's been a journey. And as I look back, I can say, you know what? I've been moving forward, you know, step by step, year after year. And you know, am I where I want to be? No, but am I getting that? Am I constantly moving in that direction? The answer is yes.
Right.
We came out here to California with my wife, and back in 1999, to do more film and TV. So that was my goal. That's what I really wanted: more film, more TV, and that was it.
Right. When I was watching your movie Heavenly Deposit, right, I almost felt like I was watching. Now I know there's a boxing scene in there, here and there, but I almost felt like I was watching a boxer fight for his life. Does that make sense? I was watching you just taking hits and blows, and you wouldn't go down. You just stayed up and you kept fighting. Would you consider playing a character where you're a professional boxer who is going through something or who has to deal with something? I think you'd be great in that role.
Thanks, Lester. That's great.
I could totally see it.
It's funny how you related the character with what was truly going on in his life. I think on a level, subconscious level, that was done, but not in a overt way.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And I'm glad that you picked that up. I'm glad you picked that up, because yeah, he was getting, you know, hit hard left and right.
Yeah.
And you know, eventually he did go down. Yeah, his coach was there all along, you know?
He was.
So yeah, but I would like that. If that ever did come to fruition, it would be great. I just got to watch the shoulders, because this one's been giving me some hard times, you know, right? Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, there's this movie, actually it's a TV show on Netflix, I believe. It's called Kingdom. You ever heard of it?
Watched it. Loved it.
Love that show.
Loved it. You know, my one thing is this. I'm all about reality.
Right.
I'm all about reality. But there's certain things, I mean, first of all, the acting's
It is.
And I understand that, you know, that's their life. And there was, you know, a lot of drugs, there was a lot of alcohol, stuff like that in there.
Yeah.
Name it. It was all good. My point is, if it could have been taken down a bit.
Yeah, it was intense.
Yeah. If that could have been taken down a bit, I would, you know, but overall, for me to say anything really negative about it, no. It's the reality. You know, there are people out there that are like that. There are. This is real stuff, and to see them really in that much pain, and they need the alcohol, they need the drugs to push through. It's heartbreaking. You know, that was hard. But the acting, Frank Grillo, you know.
Yeah, I love that show, but I didn't understand why it didn't get nominated for these big awards. You would think a show like that, I could be wrong, but I was looking to see if it was nominated for an Emmy or something like that, and I don't think it was nominated.
I have no idea. I don't know.
Okay, you're not sure. Yeah, because it was on, I think it came on from 2017 to 2019 or something like that. And then that was it. I thought something like that would be ongoing for years and years and years. So I didn't really understand why they just stopped doing it.
You know what? I hear you, but there's some times where you just got to cut and run, because you're at the top of your game.
Yeah, that's true.
And you know, I know you've seen what are they called, like, you know, TV shows, episodics, whatever, where they're doing great.
Yeah.
And, you know, season after season, you tune in to watch them and you're excited. Then all of a sudden they start to fizzle out and they lose their umph. And by the time it's done, you're sitting there going, okay. You know, you lost that enjoyment in watching it.
Good point.
So I finish while you're on top.
Yeah, finish high. I love that. Yeah. So George, I read somewhere that you booked a role for this movie called The Notice, and you played a
Oh yeah.
father, right? And I was just shocked that you are not a father. I would have guessed because you have that whole dad vibe, the cool dad with the family, taking them out and things like that. So I wanted to ask you, how was it filming that? Because if you're playing a dad, but you've never been a father, that's hard to channel, no?
Yes and no. I guess you could say, the young lady, the young girl who played my daughter. I remember her vividly. This is going back now, probably in 2007, I think. I
Okay.
believe that was back then.
Okay.
And let me tell you, she was so adorable, so amazing that you can't help but have that protective, you know, uh, just want to love her and protect her. And when you know what that story is about, which I think it was a fantastic idea,
Yeah.
should have been made into a movie eventually, but who knows? But yeah, it was
Oh, it's not a movie. I thought it was a movie. I thought I saw a trailer or something for it.
well, it was a short film.
It was a short.
It was a short film, and they were looking to make it into a feature, but
Oh,
but because it really that's a film that needs a lot of money behind it,
oh,
a
okay.
lot of money behind it.
Got it.
But yeah, it was so much fun to just to play a dad too.
Yeah,
So much
yeah.
fun to play a dad.
Right, right. I'm just curious, George, when you're not producing projects or acting or being in the entertainment world, how do you step aside and just relax? Or do you even
Uh,
relax? Maybe you never shut it off. Maybe because I know some people who are always on.
I don't think I'm ever off. Yeah, it's just it becomes a way of life. I think. At night you can't even sleep because your
Right.
mind's going. Your mind's
You
going.
got ideas in your head. Same here.
Yeah,
Trying to get stuff done. That's me. I don't know if you're like that, but I feel
you
like
gotta,
I want to take advantage of every waking minute that I have. Does that make sense?
yeah, yeah. We go to bed late. We are night owls, both my wife and I, and maybe like 1:32, 2:30 in the morning.
Yeah.
Um, and again, that's not good. I'm not saying that's good.
I know
That's
what you
not
mean. Right. That's just what you guys do. Yeah.
for everyone out there. That's not good. Let's
Yeah.
be real. But for us, it's just it's the way we are,
Yeah.
and yeah, it gives me time to kind of like think about things and kind of just reflect on the day and what do I have to do for the next morning, you know.
Right.
But I get a lot of my ideas at night.
Yeah. Me too. Same here. I'm
Yeah.
just curious when the pandemic hit, right? How did you pivot from that? Because that must have been tough. Everybody was struck by it. We're still dealing with it.
Well, I guess you could say that it was the audition stopped. That was pretty hard in a way. It reminded me of the writer's strike years ago when everything was just shut down, and that hurt. And I remember that I was like, oh man, this hurts. This is but by the same token, what was interesting it was that even though Heavenly Deposit was released domestically, in U.S. and Canada, I was still trying and I was still working on getting foreign distribution, international.
Mhm.
So that was always on the plate, and always trying to get just word out on the film to keep getting publicity for the film was something that I was constantly doing. So I focused my attention on that, and to share with you that about probably almost a month now, we secured international distribution for the film through a company called APL. Thank you.
Congratulations.
Yeah, it was a
Wow.
journey. But once again, um, a you have a goal in mind of what you want to do, and you just keep doing it. Eventually, either the door will open or it won't.
Right.
And thank God this time it did, and we got a good company, so they're working on it now, and that's where I pretty much put my focus to keep going and get foreign distribution.
Yes. Speaking of foreign distribution, I know that your film was accepted and it won at this festival in Argentina. You want to talk about that? That's a big deal when your movie starts touring. That's a big deal.
You know, it's like you have certain ideas of what's possible, but sometimes you don't know what's possible.
Yeah.
You know, you don't. And as you're working through things, you're seeing that, you know, there's a step, there's another step. Oh, I can do that.
Right.
And that opens up that door. So yeah, you know, we submitted to a film festival out in Argentina. It's called the Jesus Cine-Fest International Film Festival, and we won Best Narrative Feature Film.
Wow.
And that was fantastic. And I was like, oh man! And it was really at the right time when we were looking for foreign distribution.
Wow.
So it's like, again, would you call this coincidence?
Yeah.
No, not coincidence.
I agree.
You know, and we did win. Was it Most Inspirational Feature Film?
Nice.
At this out here in the U.S. in Pennsylvania at the Hollywood Divine International Film Festival.
Oh.
So we won Most Inspirational Feature Film.
Definitely. So George, I want to close it out with this section that I call receipts. And
Yes.
It's just going to be stuff that I pulled from social media that you might have quoted or that you might have posted or said. And just tell me what comes to mind when you hear it. All right?
You're going to get me on this, aren't you?
I like to close on a high note.
Okay.
So I have a quote here. Life's a journey, not a destination. This is mine. What does that mean to you?
It's exactly what it is. It's exactly, I think life is exactly that. It's, you know, it's what you learn, what you experience throughout that makes you, that you can, you know, that really just is the nook and cranny of who we are. You know, we want to get there, but there may never come. But it's that whole process, you know.
I like it.
That's who makes us, I believe.
I like that. Okay. I have another quote here. If it's to be, it's up to me. What does that mean?
Oh boy, that's a philosophy that's on, you know, on its face sounds terrific.
Right.
But if you leave out a very important component, and that is God, you're in trouble.
Yes.
Because that's what led me down that path of trying to handle things on my own without really turning to God, and I found myself hitting rock bottom. But if you bring them into the equation, anything's possible.
I like that. Okay. Another quote is, God humbles us out of love.
Yeah.
That's
deep.
That's deep. It is. Because a lot of times people will say, why me? Why is this happening to me? What did I do to deserve this? Why couldn't it have happened to so-and-so? That person's doing that and that. He deserves that.
I can only speak to how it relates to me. And there, you know, people will be able to say, yeah, I get it, or I don't. But with me, if he knows that you're not doing what he has in mind for you, I believe that he will humble you out of love, so he can wake you up and say, hey, it's this way, not that.
Wow.
You know?
I love it. Yeah. All right. This one's a two-parter, and it's from your movie Heavenly Deposit. Barry Van Dyke said these lines. The first one is, I let go and let God.
Yeah.
And then the other one was, he said, you play basketball. This is when he was talking to you in the scene. You play basketball. If it's the last shot, would you take it or give it to Michael Jordan?
Yeah.
That's a beautiful line. You wrote that line, correct?
I wrote it, but here's the thing. I can't take credit for that. That was something in my life. I was working with this group, and you know, they basically they were about personal development. They were about, just being the best you can be. And that's one thing that they shared, and it stuck with me. It stuck with me. And I said, wow, what a great place to apply this line,
Yeah, that's
So
brilliant.
I can only take credit for putting it in the movie. I can't take credit for writing it.
Right, right. Okay, got you. Are you a basketball fan?
Actually, no, not at all. Not at all.
Wow, you referenced Jordan. You never. Wow, okay.
Never,
I
never.
love it. I
I,
love it.
I respect, but I respect Michael Jordan,
Of
right?
course. Yeah,
Because when you know what he went through to become who he became,
yeah.
there's that respect.
Of course. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Okay, and I have two more. God wants us to lean on him.
Yeah. Yeah. It all comes back to the same thing.
Yeah,
It's basically putting your faith, putting your trust in him, letting him lead the way.
yeah.
Instead of you putting yourself first and saying, I got this. Let him shield things for you. Let him open the path.
I like it.
Let him be the trailblazer for you. You're right there next to him, but let him
Yeah.
go first.
The sky's the limit. I think the film is
Yeah.
amazing, and I'm so glad that I discovered it thanks to Rodney Damon Collins. He was the one who had you on his show, and I saw you, and I just said, "Oh, I have to watch this movie." So, congratulations to you on everything. How can people?
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a great movie. I highly recommend. If you haven't seen the movie, go see Heavenly Deposit. It's an incredible faith film. You don't want to miss it.
I got to get this in. Thank you, by the way, for saying that. Rodney, terrific individual. What a
Right?
stud.
Yeah.
Great. Just like you, seriously. Great interviewer. Just
Thanks.
great human being. Because
Yeah, yeah.
you can tell someone's spirit. You can.
I agree.
You both just emanate this amazing aura. So I want to thank you for this time, number one. But this is the film, and
Yes.
deposit.
I love it. I love it. You got the website.
Begin. Hello. So Lester, we got a terrific cast in the movie. As you know, there's John Savage, there's Ella Joyce, there's Barry Van Dyke, there's Peter Jason, there's Benjamin Onyango from God's Not Dead. There's also a gentleman by the name of Frank Ashmore, who's terrific. So it really was a terrific ensemble cast.
Nice. I like it. Was it
Yeah.
difficult trying to get all those people in one film?
Like anything else, you put out, you reach out to their managers, their agents.
Right.
You get a casting director who comes on board who helps out. So it's a variety of different ways, but ultimately the right people came on board.
Yeah, I saw you had Ellie from Rock. You ever watch that show?
Oh, of course.
I was like, what? I recognized. I was like, was that difficult getting her?
What a terrific actress. Ella Joyce
Yes.
is a gem. Actually, we got Ella through Rick Irvin.
Oh.
So Rick was the one who actually brought her to the film.
Oh.
And then through Ella, we ended up getting Peter Jason, who's incredible once again. He's so much fun to work with. And Barry Van Dyke I reached out to, and John Savage I reached out to too. And we've got, like I said, we ended up having a casting director as well. So it was a lot of fun.
Nice. Bravo. Heavenly Deposit.
Thanks, Lester.
Yeah.
And for everyone out there who is watching and who gets a chance to, I will tell you, go to the Heavenly Deposit YouTube channel. If you like stories about behind the scenes, trust me, those stories are incredible. And once again, it just shows how God had his hand on the film from the very start. Just mind-blowing stories. Would you agree?
Yeah, absolutely. Was that your idea to put together those YouTube videos, or did somebody?
Yeah. No. I wanted people to know this is bigger than the movie itself. This is bigger than that,
Yeah.
But no, I appreciate it. And I really had a great time.
Have you ever felt like no matter how hard you tried, things just still go wrong?
Many times.
What do you do?
I let go and let God.
Yeah, but how do you get by when you start to doubt yourself and everything that you do?
When we're turning to God, I take it out of my hands and leave it in His. It's less pressure. Talk to Him. You'll find He's compassionate and caring.
Yeah. Okay, thanks.
Peter, wait. Let me ask you. You're playing a basketball game, and it's the last shot for the win. Would you take it? Or would you give it to Michael Jordan?